According to new research, aggressive deportation policy may actually be hurting native-born Americans too. Why? Because entire industries in America heavily depend on immigrant labor. Construction, agriculture, manufacturing, warehousing, and when immigrant, they disappear suddenly, business struggle to function. Simple. The study claims that for every immigrant worker arrested in some construction sector, multiple American workers also lost jobs because projects slowed down or become economically impossible. Can you think about how shocking that is? Instead of increasing wages dramatically for Americans, some companies reportedly reduced construction activity entirely because there were not enough workers left to finish the job effectively. Now, America faces another huge problem, and that is housing shortage. The country already struggles with very expensive housing, right? Now, labor shortage could make construction even slower and more expensive. Experts say this could eventually push home price higher. And suddenly America finds itself trapped in a contradiction. Well, politicians, they want stricter immigration enforcement, but industries still heavily depend on immigrant workers. And this particular debate is kind of becoming increasingly emotional as elections approach. Because immigration in America is no longer just about border. It is now directly connected to inflation, housing price, wages, labor shortage, and the future of the American economy itself. And yes, while inflation conversation is being discussed, let's talk about H-1B. For decades, the H-1B visa lottery represented hope for thousands of Indians who are dreaming of building a future in America, right? Students spent massive amount of money on the US education, believing that once they secured an H-1B visa, their life would finally become stable. But tonight, that dream is changing rapidly. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service has now revealed something very, very important about fiscal year 2027 H-1B season. America is no longer selecting applicants the same way it used to. The system itself is changing, and the biggest winner now appears to be the people with higher salaries and advanced US degree. According to the US, nearly 71.5% of selected applicants this year held a US master's degree or maybe higher. In fact, last year that number was only 57%. Think about that jump. It sends a very clear message about where America is heading. And yes, at the very same time, only 17.7% of selected applications came from the lowest wage category. In simple words, lower paid applicants are finding it much harder to get selected now. And perhaps the most shocking number is this. Total H-1B registration collapsed by nearly 38.5%. Yes, registrations dropped from over 343,000 to 211,000. And that's a massive fall. USCIS says that this happened because the government introduced new rules designed to stop what it calls low-wage abuse of the H-1B system. America has now replaced the old random lottery system with a wage-based weighted selection system. Now earlier selection was mostly luck-based, right? But today, salary matters for more. Higher paying jobs are receiving stronger preference during selections. So that means companies offering lower wages may struggle to get workers selected under the new program. And there's another huge change. The government also increased the H-1B registration fee from just $10 to $215 per applicant. And that single move dramatically reduced bulk registration and forced companies to become more selective before the filing applications. The US says that the goal is simple: prioritize higher skilled workers while protecting American jobs and wages. But tonight, many Indian students and tech workers, they are quietly asking difficult questions. What happens to average applicants now? What happens to small companies? What happens to students spending huge amount on the American degrees hoping for H-1B opportunity later on? Because the message from Washington, that is becoming clear. America still wants foreign talent. They do, but increasingly only the highest paid, highest skilled, and most competitive talent. And for the Indians dreaming about the US, the H-1B game, it may now be tougher than ever before.